Bonjour, bonjour, mes amis. C'est la professeure Jessica. It is Jessica Jacob, your teacher, and today we are reviewing 02.02, lesson 02.02 in le deuxième module, second module. All right, so 02.02, tu as besoin de quoi is the name of the module. What do you need? Now, if you remember, mon école, this is the name of the module, my school. So what do you need for school? La rentrée. Kevin and I already noticed slight differences between French and American middle and high school. It is obvious he is enjoying the 2-hour lunch break every day, even if that means he leaves school at least 2 hours later than he would in the States. Since my house is close, we usually grab a fresh baguette from the bakery on our way to my house, make sandwiches, and then relax. My backpack is always light because I switch my morning to afternoon textbooks during the break. Since I have art in the afternoon, I always have the watercolors, paper, and paintbrushes my parents brought à la rentrée, the beginning of school year. My mom explained to Kevin that in France, low-income families with kids from ages 6 to 8 who go to school are entitled to get a return to school allowance, allocation de rentrée scolaire, ARS, from the government to help cover the cost of school supplies and clothing. So remember the note guide. The note guide is available to you before this particular video, the previous assignment, the page. Remember to print it out. The best way to review, to practice, and to retain all of this knowledge is to print out the note guide, fill it out as you watch this video. You also have the option to review these slides, these flex point slides, in the link above the video. So if you prefer to do this at your own pace, feel free to click on that link and use these slides on your own while filling out your notes. Des cours. Kevin and I have been back to school for over a month now. My mom had done her best to anticipate what his needs were, and had already bought and gathered school supplies for him to use. Now that he is a little more acclimated, we were able to talk about what our day looks like and go over our schedules. So we're going to watch a video. Remember that you can pause this video. You can repeat it, rewind it, pause it. You can even practice pronouncing things after you hear them say it. Say it with them. Lots of great tools and opportunities, strategies to develop your own pronunciation, listening comprehension, and overall French skills.
Kevin, tu as quel cours le matin?
Le matin, j'ai cours de maths et j'ai cours de sciences.
Waouh! Quelle surprise! Et l'après-midi, tu as quel cours?
J'ai cours d'art et j'ai cours d'informatique.
C'est super! Tu as besoin de quoi pour le cours d'informatique?
J'ai besoin d'un crayon, d'une tablette et d'une classeur.
Psst, Kevin, I heard you say une classeur, but remember that French has a noun class, and classeur happens to belong to the noun class masculine. Can you guess what needs changing?
Oops, let me try again. J'ai besoin d'un classeur. Et toi, Sophie, tu as quel cours l'après-midi?
J'ai cours d'histoire géo et sport.
Tu as besoin de quoi pour le cours d'histoire géo?
J'ai besoin d'un grand livre, d'un crayon de couleur orange et d'un crayon de couleur bleue.
Bonne chance à nous cette année. Good luck to us this year.
Right, mes amis, so a lot of that vocabulary is what you're going to be learning in this lesson. Remember, you can pause, you can rewind, you can even slow down this video so you can hear them speaking a little bit slower if you need to. Self-check. We're going to use this video in the assignments practice slides below, so refer to those as you do a self-check as well. Select the arrows. Let's take a look. How many classes does Kevin have in the morning? Does anybody remember? 2 classes. What 2 classes does he have in the afternoon? He has art and computer science. And what 2 classes does Sophie have in the afternoon? She has social science and physical education. And what supplies does Sophie need for social science class? She needs a big book and colored pencils. So if you need, a good idea would be to pause this, rewind, see if you can listen to that dialogue one more time and double check this comprehension. Les fournitures scolaires. There is at least one thing Kevin and I have in common. Even if the beginning of the school year is now behind us, we still like the feeling of getting organized for our classes before school. What I didn't tell him is that I like the smell of sharpened pencils so much. I wish there were a candle with the same scent, but I digress. These are the school supplies. Le fourniture scolaire. We have for our classes. So remember to use a note guide as you plug in the English words, translations, French words into this new vocabulary. Remember also that you have Quizlet sets, vocab flashcards, that you can use to practice and help you retain the new vocabulary. Also pay attention to the pronunciation. You have the audio available to you in the Quizlet sets, and we'll listen to it now.
Tu as besoin de quoi? Tu as besoin de quoi?
What do you need? Tu as besoin de quoi pour l'histoire géo?
J'ai besoin de... J'ai besoin de...
I need. J'ai besoin d'une guitare pour le cours de musique.
Un livre. Un livre.
Book. J'ai besoin d'un livre d'histoire.
Un ordinateur. Un ordinateur portable.
Computer, a laptop computer. Il a un ordinateur.
Une feuille de papier. Une feuille de papier.
A piece of paper. Elle a une feuille de papier blanche.
Un classeur. Un classeur.
3-ring binder. J'ai un classeur pour les maths. Now, pay special attention to whether these say un or une. They are a big hint as to whether they are a masculine noun class or a feminine noun class. Cognate. So here are some additional vocabulary terms. Be sure to practice your pronunciation to sound like a native.
Une tablette. Un instrument.
False cognates.
Un crayon.
This is not a crayon, it's a pencil. Notice the pronunciation is different than the English, so be careful.
Un crayon. Un crayon de couleur.
All right, so hopefully you're also paying attention to some of these sounds we've learned, couleur, as well as whether it's a masculine or feminine word. Une, what can we assume that is? Feminine word versus un is masculine. So la prononciation, c'est important. Kevin's ease with the French pronunciation is increasing very quickly. I would like to believe it's because of my awesome teaching skills, but I am not that foolish. He practices all the time and his hard work sure is paying off. Let's see how he does with these new ones.
Oin, like in besoin. Œil, like in feuille. Yé, like in papier. Heure, like in classeur. Un, like in un livre.
And here are some other words we've already learned in pronunciation.
Quoi, like in quoi. On, like in crayon.
Bravo! À ton tour. So below this video, you will find your practice slides to review all of this vocabulary and some of these new skills. Check for your comprehension. Tu as besoin de quoi? For his art class, Kevin's teacher asked all the students to bring a 3-ring binder, but he is not sure how to explain what he needs to my mom, so we rehearsed it. Kevin, do you remember how to say I have, you have, he has, she has? Yes, I remember, he says. J'ai, tu as, il a, elle a. Good, because you are going to use the verb to have to express what you need. It might be helpful for you to have a formula. J'ai, I have. Besoin, de, or just the D, un, or une, depending on the gender, and then the noun. De becomes de with apostrophe. Can we guess when? It is followed by a vowel or an H. Let's practice. Tu as besoin de quoi pour ton cours? What do you need for your class? He says, j'ai besoin d'un classeur. J'ai besoin d'une tablette. I need a 3-ring binder and I need a tablet. So what about Matteo? Il a besoin de quoi? What does he need? Il a besoin d'une guitare. He needs a guitar. Excellent, Kevin. Now you can tell my mom what you need for your art class. So a quick recap. In order to express needs, j'ai besoin de, un, or une, followed by the noun. Tu as besoin d'une, il a besoin de un, elle a besoin de un, and noun. So here is our formula. All right, à ton tour. So below this video, you will find the practice slides. Make sure to review those to check for your comprehension. Le lycée. In high school, le lycée teachers take what they do very seriously. After all, they only have 3 years to prepare us for the rest of our lives before we enter higher education or the professional world. The French high school system is different from the United States. To help Kevin understand it better, I shared Matteo's story with him. Remember to use the handy note guide provided to you as you work through the lesson. Your notes will help you prepare for the assessments. Au lycée. Matteo, my friend from Italy, is a high school. Au lycée is in high school. In France, for 3 years with all of us. The first year of the lycée is called seconde. That was very confusing to Kevin, so I gave him a little chart to help. Seconde is the second year, 10th grade in the United States. Première, 11th grade in the United States, and terminale, 12th grade in the United States. Matteo had a really hard time getting his French grade from a 12/20, which is a D, to an 18 out of 20, which is an A, because he did not speak much French at first. This type of grading can be confusing for someone who is used to letter grading or seeing a score out of 100. Here is a chart of grades in France and in the United States. So it shows what an A would be, what a B would be, what a C would be, what the D is equivalent to, and what less than 10 out of 20 would be a fail. So do a quick self-check, checking the errors to see your comprehension. Now we will do this in the activities below, so rather than self-checking here, let's actually use this to view the practice lessons below to check for your comprehension. Plus de fournitures scolaires. We might be getting close to the end of the school supply list. Here are a few more things we have depending on what classes we take each day. Remember to use your handy note guide provided to you to work through the lesson. Again, this vocabulary is available also to you in the Quizlet vocab sets.
Un sac à dos. Un sac à dos.
A backpack. Elle a un sac à dos bleu.
Une règle. Une règle.
A ruler. J'ai une petite règle pour les maths.
Une calculatrice. Une calculatrice.
Calculator. Il a une calculatrice.
Un cahier. Un cahier.
Notebook. J'ai un cahier pour les cours de sciences.
Un stylo. Un stylo.
Pen. Tu as un joli stylo.
Pour. Pour.
For. J'ai un ordinateur pour les cours d'informatique. La pronunciation, c'est important. Kevin is adding to his, what sound does this letter make? Knowledge bank. Let's see what he does with these new sounds. So the Y is like in stylo.
I, like in stylo.
I is the French word for why. So again, reviewing other words that we've learned, feel free to use these flex point slides available to you in the link above to take this at your own pace. Listen as much, as often as you would like. So also said, Kevin did find out that, just like in English, there is a way to write things and a way to say things. This is basically spoken versus written, or young, hip lingo versus a formal way of expressing ourselves. Often it's to save time because we have little abbreviations or shortcuts to make what we say quicker than the stuffy proper version. That's why we'll say, j'ai une calculette pour le cours de maths. I have a calculator for a math class. We like to add a TTE to some words to make them sound cuter. Be on the lookout for them. À ton tour. So refer to the practice slides below to check for your comprehension and do some practice activities. D'autres articles. Today, Kevin is a little confused because he has seen un livre and le livre, but what is the difference? I was not sure how to explain when to use un, une, and le, la, or and with apostrophe. So Kevin and I went to my English teacher, Madame Menadi, so she can explain to Kevin when to use each. Sophie shared that you need some help with your French. I think I can help clarify the differences between un, une, and le, la, or l'apostrophe. Why do you think we say un livre? Does it have to do with the noun class? Yes, noun classes sure play a part here. We use un since we are referring to any book. Un or une, also called indefinite articles. Kevin says, so when I want to refer to any person, place, or thing, I use the article un or une depending on their noun class, masculine or feminine, right? You are correct, Kevin. So can you think of why we say le livre orange? I think it's because it's more specific description of a book and not just any book. Great. Great reasoning skills. We use le since we are referring to a specific book, an orange one. Le, la, or L with apostrophe are called definite articles. Kevin says, I can pick up a pattern here. When I want to refer to a specific person, place, or thing, I use the article le or la depending on their noun class, masculine or feminine. Don't forget that L with apostrophe is used for nouns beginning with a vowel or an H. The noun class can be feminine or masculine. Let me try to use un le or une la in a few examples. Tu as un cahier? Do you have a notebook? Any notebook? Le cahier violet est grand. The purple notebook is big. Specifically, the purple notebook, not just any. Tu as une calculatrice? Do you have a calculator? Any calculator? La calculatrice bleue est petite. The blue calculator is small. Specifically, the blue calculator. You get it, she says. Continue to practice and ask questions when you don't understand something. So a quick recap. Now you make an a difference by knowing the difference between definite and indefinite articles. So indefinite articles are used when referring to any person, place, or thing that is non-specific, non-identified, or unknown. It could be anyone. Definite articles are used when referring to one person, place, or thing that is specific, identified, or known. Defined. The indefinite article un is masculine, une is feminine, le for the definite article is masculine, la definite article is feminine, and the le with apostrophe can be either or when it is followed by a vowel or an H. So use the practice slides below to check for your comprehension. And we're almost through this lesson. Ooh, this is a long one, isn't it? Mes activités. Kevin was sharing that schools in the United States offer extracurricular activities like band, theater, and sports in schools after classes end. In France, you can also do all of these activities, but they generally don't take place on campus. This is what I shared with Kevin. Remember to use the handy note guide. I reminded Kevin that before he was able to join the health club, we had to go with one of my parents to City Hall to find out about which programs are offered to choose from. I chose the swimming club and signed up to become an FFN member, or Fédération Française de Natation. Most French sports clubs are registered national federations, and students participate in sports when schools are out or when we have a half day on Wednesdays. Just like in the States, students have weekend tournaments and practices during the week, which start at 4 p.m. I remember you saying you are playing the French horn in the school band, right? French schools do not have these programs. Unlike the US, where sports, theater, and music, for example, are part of the on-campus extracurricular activities, school in France is centered around learning and academics. If I wanted to play an instrument, I would need to do that at a conservatory, un conservatoire, or école de musique, where music is taught. Guess where you get information on joining Le Conservatoire? Yes, City Hall, a one-stop shop for information on programs offered to the community. Like in the US, students go to summer day or sleepaway camps while their parents work. Large French companies often offer their workers programs such as camps and vacation rentals for their families. Last summer, one of the programs my dad's work offered was a sailing school in Corsica. I quickly tied a knot and signed up for it. Talk about an incentive to be a kid nowadays. So a quick self-check. What information can parents find at City Hall? Information about programs offered to the community. Where do kids attend the after-school programs in France? Off campus. If you wanted to join a sports club in France, when would you have practice? Wednesdays or after 4 p.m. And where do most school-aged children learn music? At the conservatoire. All right, well done. And finally, la lecture. Kevin and I decided to play a guessing game. We use school supplies to ask questions and give each other clues to guess which mystery class we are taking. It was super fun. Here's how our conversation went. So don't forget to use reading strategies. Pause. Read it once through to see how much you can initially understand. Look for cognates as you read, and ask yourself comprehension questions as you read. Do I really understand that sentence? So look for clues, words you know, and try to fill in the blanks. Pour le cours mystère, j'ai besoin d'un crayon. Tu as besoin d'une calculatrice pour le cours mystère? Non, j'ai besoin d'une feuille de papier. Tu as cours de mathématiques? Non, j'ai besoin d'un instrument pour les cours. Très bien. Tu as cours de musique, Sophie? Oui, j'ai cours de musique. Et toi, tu as besoin de quoi pour ton cours mystère? J'ai besoin d'un livre. Ah, comment est le livre? Grand? Oui, le livre est très grand. Tu as besoin d'une tablette? Oui, et j'ai besoin d'un crayon de couleur. Ah, tu as cours d'art, Kevin? Oui, bravo, Sophie. So hopefully you too were able to guess the mystery class based on the different school supplies that they needed. All right, Ms. Ami, quick self-check. What class did Kevin think that Sophie had at first? Math class. And what does Sophie need for her class? A pencil. And what does Kevin need for his class? Colored pencils. And what does Kevin need for his class? A tablet. So it seems like they need two things for the class. Anyways, we'll still work on that one. Have a wonderful journée, bonne journée. At this point, the video is over. You can pause, you can rewind. I know it's a long one, so good job for hanging in there. But most importantly, after this, go to part 2, which is the practice slides below. Check for your comprehension. There are some extra activities in there to keep you engaged. And remember, you have the vocabulary sets after this. Play some little games, practice the vocab, make sure you're using your notes, and bonne chance. Good luck with the quiz and the rest of the module. Au revoir.